Hello there folks, thought I'd make a video that was actually today inspired by a video by a lady called Dictionary of Truth, who put a recent video up showing depictions of titans and huge mud fossils of dragons and other creatures, and I was stunned to see one of the images she put up was of an image called the Drinking Dragon Rock on the Isle of Wight off the south coast of England, because I found something really interesting and possibly related to dragons and that kind of mythology on a beach just a few miles from the Isle of Wight. In fact, if you stand on the beach, you can see the whole of most of the Isle of Wight from where I found this artifact. This is what I found, and it is a spiral horn. Now I'll tell you how I found it. I decided to go for a walk down on the beach, and I parked the car about a mile from the local seaside town. I thought, okay, I'll park it there and I'll walk along the beach all the way to the town, grab a coffee and walk back. So I kind of parked the car just anywhere, nowhere special, just along the seaside road, and got out of the car, walked down to the shingle beach, and I thought I'll stand and watch the waves for a minute. And it's strange how I found this, because the beach is literally miles long and there are billions of stones all along that. But just where I happened to stand, I was a few feet from where the surf was coming in, and the surf nearly hit my shoe, and I felt this like bumping, knocking going on my foot. So thinking it was a stone, I bent down to have a look, and I saw this spiral object just patting against my foot like that. So I bent down and picked it up, and I thought, that's strange, and I thought it was a piece of porcelain or pottery that had been made into a spiral shape. So I thought it was rather interesting, so I picked it up and put it in my pocket. Didn't think too much about it until I got home, and I cleaned it up a bit. I cleaned all the sand off it and everything, and this is what I found. And on further analysis, I came to the conclusion that it was bone. So I did these various tests, and what I did notice was on the side here, and the camera's not picking up very well, but it's very, very smooth and kind of yellowed, and it reminded me of ivory. So I thought, okay, so I then did these tests where you can test to see if something is either bone or ivory, and it passed all the tests as ivory, and you can't pick it up on this camera, but it has all striations running down it, just like ivory growth lines, a bit like growth rings on a tree. When ivory grows, it creates these lines, and it's passed all the tests for ivory, so it is in fact ivory. So anyway, as you can see on the bottom there, it's been broken off a larger piece. So this spiral horn was probably a lot longer than this at one time, and it's been rounded off. This end here was probably really sharp at one point, but it's been rounded off, rolling about in the ocean against the stones for God knows how many years. And well, I took it down to a marine biology and archaeology centre, and they'd never seen anything like it before, and they agreed that it was ivory to look at, and they wanted to keep it, but I would not let them keep it. And I said, well, what do you think it is? I already had an idea of what I thought it was, and 4 or 5 of them all laughed and agreed, and these were scientists, and they all said, the only thing we can think of is a unicorn. And they started laughing, but it completely bamboozled them. So that is exactly what I thought. I thought, have I found the horn of a mythical unicorn? Because it's a spiral horn of ivory, and ivory comes from a living, growing creature. So this has grown out of some creature's head. So I did a lot, hours and hours of research, and found no creature in any database anywhere that ever grew a complete spiral horn. The closest thing to what could be a unicorn horn was the infamous narwhal horns that were even sold by con men in the old days to royalty and rich people as cures for poisons and ailments, but they were narwhal horns, and they claimed they were unicorn horns. In fact, Queen Elizabeth I paid around £10,000 for a narwhal horn who she was told was a unicorn horn, and £10,000 in her days was probably worth about 30 or 40 million today or more. So these people really believed that unicorns were real, and I believe the unicorn is mentioned 10 or 11 times in the King James Bible, to the best of my knowledge. And during that research I found out that King James actually went on unicorn hunts regularly. So they did actually believe these creatures existed. And as I say, there's no smoke without fire, and every country in the world has unicorns in it, as well as dragons in their mythology. So, but, you know, one day a while back I was looking at an Age of Disclosure video where he showed these cave paintings, and one of the cave paintings I paused at showed these kind of dragon people or whatever they were, and they had exactly the same kind of spiral horn as this growing out of their heads. So that led me a little bit into thinking maybe it's not a unicorn horn, maybe it's a horn that grew out of a dragon. That is really interesting. Anyway, I didn't let the marine biology people have it, and they probably would have lost it, because they would not like to admit that unicorns once roamed this earth, because it screws around with the theory of evolution and all the rest of it. So yeah, so this is it. I'll give you another look at it. Yeah, so for all I know, where I found it, the rest of the dragon or unicorn's body may well be. So yeah, another thing I found not too long ago, I was, you know, I don't know why these things come to me, but I just parked the car to go and check the boot by a lay-by, and I thought, that's interesting. Near the ditch there was a bit of earth, and I saw this red stone. I thought it was red flint, and I collect flint, so I thought, oh, I'll have that. So I dug my fingernail in, moved it around, got the earth off, and I pulled up this. This is actually ironstone, I have subsequently found out. So it's not some sort of like modern produced thing. And what I found interesting was the face, and it reminded me of some of the carvings and things I've seen of South American Indians have made. So I thought, oh, how did it get here? And then I saw some Celtic ones that were very similar, the way they do the eyes here and everything like that. So this may well be Celtic, or that they may have been pre-flood peoples. It's very, very nice, very interesting little thing. So if anyone has any idea what it might be, I would be delighted to know. I'm very reluctant to let these things go into the hands of the archaeological people in case they go missing, which I've heard is sometimes the case. Anyway, when I was on the beach, I found these as well. These are actually shells that have been carved into shapes deliberately by ancient peoples. And this may have been a seahorse. that they've created, and they put 2 holes in, so it may have been threaded onto a leather jerkin or something that they were wearing, or they may have used it as a spoon or a scoop for something. And beside it I found this, and this again is a shell that has been broken into a shape of some sort. So you've got a few, could be anything really, I don't know. It's definitely been broken into a shape, and there's sort of an eye and a face looking at you. So goodness knows what that could have been. Oh, there's another, I've just seen that in the camera there. There's an eye and a nose and a chin, so it's been shaped into some sort of person or entity. Yeah, so I'll just run through, show you again the unicorn or dragon horn, which is most definitely ancient ivory, and it has all the growth lines. And what I'll do is I'll film this in a better light with a light shining on it, and you will be able to see all the growth lines of the ivory on it, proving it's not bone. Plus, I've done all the tests on it, and it is ivory. And this little man, made of ironstone. And the 2 shells. I recently got hold of it was given a metal detector. It was made in 1999, so it's quite an old one, but it was hardly ever used. And in its day, it was considered top of the range. It's a mine lab, and it was. I've seen them for sale, second-hand ones, even now, the old ones, for about 500 or 600 quid. So it's a really good metal detector, and I've never done metal detecting before, never used one. So I'm going to tend to try it out, because I seem to be able to attract the non-metallic stuff to me at the moment, like stones and fines. So I'm going to try my hand and luck with the metal detector. So yeah, if anyone's interested, let me know. And if anyone is ever interested in doing mud fossil hunts, just let me know. You know, even in your area or whatever, I can come and help you find them, because I just seem to be able to find them, which is fortunate. Right, anyway, thank you very much again for watching this video. Thank you.